Hey everyone, this is Cindy. It is according to my computer, November 28th. It's an open door and it's the hour we call sharing the word. And what we've been doing is um experiencing the I'm going to be real careful. I'm going to say what's coming up. We've been experiencing the tonality. We've been saying yes to the teachings of the guides as it's been coming through the book Resurrection. Um, we've been reading it together, facilitated by Sandra and Amy. And before we begin, as has been our habit, um, we spend a few minutes with a YouTube clip, and let's do that now. Here we go.
If you wish, in this moment, if you prefer, to imagine that before you all the fear that expresses in the manifest plane that you are encountered with through the collective is present for you as a dark ball of energy. And imagine now this dark ball of energy accruing itself, more of itself, as it magnetizes itself. And imagine that while this ball increases, it stays at some distance from you. And because the light that you are is more powerful, more potent, and more in truth than the fear that is held before you, which is always born in lies, you can indeed move the energy to the upper room. You may say these words if you wish. I am in the upper room. I have come, I have come, I have come. And now see the dark ball before you being lifted by you in this claim. Behold, I make all things new. And allow the light that is the God within you, the monad or the Christ truth operating in, as, and with you, to reclaim this dark ball of energy and lift it in totality to the upper room, where it is not only disassembled, it is reclaimed. Some of you will see the ball falling away in pieces, as if what once claimed it in density is now splintering in little fragments of light, is leaving the physical expression that it has held and moving into the ethers as other. And you may say this now to this ball of energy in whatever form it still may hold. I am in my knowing. Word, I am word. And as I make this claim, I claim what is always true. I am word through what I see before me. Word, I am word. I am reclaiming what has been held in shadow. Word, I am word. I am lifting what has been held in abeyance through fear to the upper room, where indeed it is reknown in the high octave that I am present in, with, and as. I am in the upper room. I see this from the upper room. I have come, I have come, I have come. Behold, I make all things new. It will be so. God is, God is, God is. And now say to this thing, or the fragments of this thing, or the energy that was once known as this thing, that you knew as darkness. We are in God. We are of God. We are with God. Now, the physical presence that you hold is operating in tonality with the claims as they are invoked. The intention that was set was in support of the whole, not the personal self, to gratify its idea of what it can now do from this level of vibrational accord. Your relationship to the manifest world is always a reflection of what you have condoned, agreed to, or accepted as true. The lifting of the old to the higher octave, the convalescence, is that the right word? The convalescence of the energy that was held in higher accord, the congealing of the fear, if you wish, into one entity that could be lifted. Consolidation was the word he was seeking. Is moving the energy to the higher without the effort the small self would require it to know itself through. Because it is not heavy to lift from the upper room, it is simply the divine expressing itself in low tone, because all things are of God and must be. To decide that some things must stay in darkness and be walked from, refuted, denied light, is in some ways to contribute to that darkness. You can, of course, release the need for something by releasing the attention you give it. But the attention you give it is generally coming at the level of the personality structure, who we see as the aspect of self that has been reared in separation and consequently knows itself through that level of alignment. But because the God within you, or the monad, is not in accord to fear, has never known fear, it is actually not susceptible to this level of separation that the personality structure has known itself through, individually and collectively. Because dominion, or the idea of dominion, has been so confused by you to understand that it is anchoring the ability to claim the manifest world as you say it should be, you don't realize that it is the sovereign self, or the divine self, that accrues this evidence. Dominion is actually the relationship you hold with the reality that is held in the awareness of the divine. It is not conquering the earth. It is not getting your neighbors to do as you would have them do. It is not deciding what the government should be or how it should act. It is the realization of the inherent holiness that has been denied. And at this level, you are actually reclaiming the manifest world in high accord, and what cannot align at that level of vibration must be reclaimed, or perhaps fall away, chip away, feather away, as many of you saw that ball of old vibration do. Paul was seeing a lump of something as if floating in water that was disintegrating because it could not be held in form. And as it disintegrated, it was being reformed in light. It was being reclaimed in light to join the great light that is the divine as we say yes to it from the upper room. If you wish, you may speak these words after we invoke them. On this night I claim that I am now in allowance of the divine self, God that is within me, of me, and always in agreement to itself, to be made known not only in my field, but all that my field encounters. I am in God. I am of God. I am with God. I am in God supports the reclamation of the individual vibrational field in God, in accord with the manifestation of the divine that is present in the larger field. The collective is moving towards the reclamation of the larger field, not the home and its order, not the business and its order, although these things may indeed occur as you align to the higher that is present for you, but the global shift that is accruing evidence of itself as humanity begins to say yes to what is always true and releases the need to foster identity in fear, releases the need to subjugate others through fear, releases the need to distort the divine through praises of hierarchy born in control. We see you in your beauty. We see you in your right to be, in all you have known and may know. And as we say these words concerning on this fine evening, we say to each of you, you have come, you have come, you have come. Behold, you make all things new. Blessings to you each. Stop now, please. Period, period, period.
Well, good morning, everybody. I hope everyone had a beautiful day yesterday, whatever you were doing. Thank you for that clip, Cindy. So as I listened to that, I wanted to share my experience yesterday. I have 3 beautiful daughters, and I was with 2 of them yesterday with their families and some friends and one in-law, a son-in-law and a boyfriend and grandchildren. It was a lot of people, like 15 people. And it was truly a blessing to be with all of them. And as it was a long day, started like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and went all the way to midnight. And as the day went on, the drinking increased. And everybody was having fun. And I think I attribute the beautiful way that I experienced the day to starting it out with all of you. I was kind of floating in a beautiful high of love and knowing the truth of being. But as the day went on, I found myself using my Al-Anon tools, and one of them is detach with love. Detach, but with love, not with judgment, not with angst, not with fear. And as I heard Paul describe this ball of dark energy and how we can lift it to the upper room, I thought, yes, that's what I was able to do yesterday. That's what happens when we stay together as we do, and we meet each day, and we remember the truth of who we are and the truth of who everyone else is, that I was able to love them no matter what the behavior. And in the past, I would not have been able to do that. I would have had to remove myself from the situation. So I just loved what was revealed in this clip. The words, allow the divine, what did he say? I'm an allowance of the divine self. You know, I didn't have to let the egoic Sandra personality that wanted to lecture or wanted to judge or wanted to say, this isn't right, this is wrong. I was just able to love them all and see the beauty in each person. And I can say that it wasn't even a huge challenge to do that. It wasn't at all. There were a few little moments where wanted to get hooked in, but this truth that we heard this morning, we heard just now, it's real. It changes everything. It's not, I want to say, it's not Pollyanna. It's not a pie in the sky. It's real. And we get to experience the blessing of resting in that and not trying to fix the world. And then, what did he say? Release the need to distort, release the need to subjugate to fear. Where there were moments when fear wanted to come in, but it did not. So, thank you for listening to all of that. So as we go into the book, are there anyone who would like to read this morning? Is there anyone? I see Cindy, Amy, and Patricia.
I think I saw Rick too, but I might have been mistaken.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, Rick raised his hand too.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, thank you. So Cindy, would you like to start us off in the middle of page 70? Now, divinity.
I can, yes, and I would, and I will. Now, divinity is not understood either. You perceive it to be a chalice or a temple or a perfect garden where one may meditate. To understand divinity is to comprehend source that is in manifestation as all things. Now we have spoken of all, the totality of God. God is the sea and sky and your fingertips, the dead body in the road, and the newborn in someone's arms. All things. But to comprehend the divine as all things means not only can you not exclude anything or anyone, and there's like chills in my body as I'm saying that. I'm just sort of like Sandra, really, oh, there's a lot of chills, so I'm slowing down a little bit. Oh, the chills are increasing. Really wanting to let go of whatever the border or the defense is in the thinking mind or in the system that keeps wanting to keep this teaching conceptual, even as we continually read that it's experiential. So this feels like it's a continuation of Sandra's share. And even the conversation Amy and I were having before we turned the recording on. All things. But to comprehend the divine as all things means not only can you not exclude anything or anyone, but it requires you to move to a level of comprehension where the artifacts of history that have been blasphemed or put outside of God must now be included. And now my arm is shaking too. Understand this, friends. Everything you see or even remember, you are in coherence with. And the civilization that has systematically oppressed its fellows, killed for profit, warred against one another, lives in a museum of death or oppression. It surrounds you always because it is in the ethers of your experience. and the artifacts of it indeed surround you today. And I would just like to say I accept this as true.
Yeah. Yeah, that used to trip me up. Does not exclude anything or anyone. Doesn't trip me up anymore. Any thoughts on this paragraph? If not, we'll move on to Amy. Oh, go ahead, Amy.
I'll take it away. I just wanted to say I'm just, as Cindy said, just increasingly experiencing that the divine is in all things, everything, 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 everything. It's not anywhere. It's not everywhere, which greatly expands my field of experience. It really, when I really grok that, there becomes it's just all space. There's no boundary between anything and myself. It's not always easy, but there we are. So anyway. So how is the manifest divine? I love that. That's another word for God, the manifest divine. To translate oppression, to translate blasphemy. How do you comprehend the divine in an idea of time that has held so much pain? Now, the pain you experience on this plane is part of your learning. You may learn without pain, but most of you will undergo pain as part of a lifetime. There is nothing wrong with it. It does not mean you are doing something wrong or being punished by something outside the self. But the legacy of pain that is entrenched on this plane is partially the cause of your own experiences. When you live in a land where no one gets ill, there is no thought of illness, and consequently it is not present in the reality that you abide in. The legacy of pain is so entrenched in this field, it is as if you are moving through water that has been tainted by memory. And the self that you are, participatory to what you experience, imbibes it, or is shrouded by it, or is in agreement to it at a level of co-resonance, which creates expectation. Any thought?
The guys keep saying that on some level we are, what's the word? We are in alignment with or in tune to, and that we are in that way participatory.
But not as the small self.
Yes.
That's important to remember. Not as the small self. I love the, it's as though you're moving through water tainted by the field of memory. It's immersion. It's energetic immersion. Thank you. And I'm done.
Cindy, do you have a comment on that?
Well, I actually wanted to read the whole sentence that Amy just read the second half of. The legacy of pain, the legacy of pain is so entrenched in this field, it is as if you are moving through water that has been tainted by memory. My sense of these teachings and how all of the truth teachings that whatever I am has been spending time with, is reminding me of is that I don't know what I don't know, and that I'm going to just speak in the first person. I don't know what the I is, but this sense of a me has been born into a family, into a community, into a culture, into a human collective that has, now it's Rupert Spira, has tinted glasses on. Like the whole human collective is wearing tinted glasses. And the guides have taught me, anyway, that those tinted glasses are imbibed with fear. And so that as long as I'm in this common field, I shouldn't even pretend I know what it's like to be in an experience without that. Like I have these moments where something else is going on, but as soon as those moments attempt to be filtered back into the sense of being a human, it's not the same anymore. Um, it's been and those chills are back now, and I don't even know if it's because the heat's off because I'm watching them put in a new boiler downstairs. It's just continually reminding myself that fear has been like we've all drank the Kool-Aid going back for all of history. So it's normal in the human collective, and we're being invited to accept that we're being part of what's lifting beyond that. You know, David Hawkins scale, that's happening now. So just because it's always been like this, it's changing. And so I'm grateful for every opportunity I have to say yes to that and allow it to happen, and to allow, there's been a lot of fear. I think I heard Amy say, it's happening at night. For me, I keep walking into these waves of intense fear, and I can assign them to worldly cause. But when I remember that this teaching is more real and the world is a projection, even though it doesn't feel like that, I'm watching the system get undone. I don't know if any of these words are right, but I just love saying that out. This understanding that fear's been part of the human collective, and all of this work we're saying yes to says that's not the future. That's not even the now, because the future is now. So don't pretend you know what this means. Yeah, I think I've said everything that I need to say right now.
Yeah, I love what you said, and I just want to add that, yeah, I don't have to figure it out anymore. And my example of yesterday, I actually was sitting there going, look at them having fun. They're all having fun instead of putting the usual narrative on it. And I was lighter. I was so much lighter and porous. It was like, let it all just wave through. Oh, yeah, there's that old fear wanting to come in. I mean, just watching it all and observe and seeing the beauty in each person, the truth of their being.
Well, without going into detail, for me
Yes.
yesterday, it was an intense, like shocking experience of what I labeled fundamentalism. And I heard myself say to my daughter, I can accept almost anything but fundamentalism. And then the moment I said that out loud, I saw the judgment and the separation. And then I was like, oh shit, that has to be healed here.
Yeah.
And then I allowed the discomfort, and it's still working. But it feels like a different story, same thing to what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. Same thing over and over and over for all of us. Rick. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning, friends. Good to be here with you all. I think it's ironic that we're reading about pain and all this stuff that I was actually talking to Cindy about And to be on topic, hopefully, I remember visiting a friend who was in the hospital 2 years ago. And this thing of self had me looking at my phone when leaving the hospital, and I had fallen on my face and hit my head really hard. And I thought it was really interesting that my sense of security for my own well-being had been completely wiped away for a cell phone. I was protecting my cell phone over my own life. And as a result of that, I ended up with some interesting injuries. But being back into this point of conversation is, my first thing was to blame, and to, not realize that my not being in the present moment was the result of what took place, and priority over what was important. I mean, I wanted to protect my cell phone over my own being, and I just thought that was kind of pertinent. This thing that we are, and this thing that I'm not, was in conflict, right? I think when we turn our lives over to this power, shit happens. And if I am not present to my experiences, I will get reminders. And sometimes they don't taste good, and sometimes they don't feel good, and sometimes it's a
Yes.
result of injuries, which can be sustained. And I just thought it was all quite interesting that we're reading about pain today.
Yeah.
For me, it was kind of an aha. So I'm grateful to be here and to be with you all.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you. Amy's doing the May. William, good morning, William.
Good morning, everyone. I just want you to know I've got all of you in this space of awe, the word awe. I just finished listening to Joel Goldsmith, the word recognition, recognition, recognition. Yesterday, Thanksgiving, our garbage disposal stopped up, clogged. So, isn't it interesting? And I think it's wonderful that when we're kind of jostled out of our routine, we open up to more and more of the moment. So when we make shift and change our plans, just being with our son, daughter-in-law, grandson, and my wife, I just felt, wow. I was almost not mesmerized, but just so taken by how much love I saw between them. And it's like, I love how they love each other. Wow. And I feel included. And I love this here, the totality of God. God served as a sea and sky and your fingertips. I love that. The dead body in the road, the newborn in someone's arms. All things, all things. And that's what's resonated with me. I hear a lot of love, but I just hold you. For me, it's holding all of you in this space that we are one. And so my son calls from Florida this morning, helping me figure out the clogged drain, how I'm going to work it. I'm a little awkward down there on the sink, though. It's this oneness. And that's what I'm seeing. I just hold us all in that safe space of oneness. And that, call it what you want. Call it love, call it now, call it oneness, call it, just recognizing it. So I just love it. I love the space you provide here so I can come in and out. And sometimes I just don't even want to see. I don't even want to listen. I just am being in this space where I know everybody is joining off and on in this space of nothing. And that's what I love. I love. So happy day after Thanksgiving, and I'll get my clog worked out somehow.
Thank you, William. I love what you said. Yes, the love. I call it amazing. Amazing that all of you who I never would have met in my daily life show up here, and I get to just marinate in your love, and then I bring it with me. That's what happened yesterday. I brought your love with me, and I could love everyone. And that is miraculous. That's what I call, that's the Course in Miracles. You can love through the clogged drain. I remember my father, if anything went wrong on a holiday, boy, he was angry the entire day. That poor guy, but we don't have to, we get to live life differently. I mean, it's so, aren't you in, wow, we get to live it differently. We don't, what if we are in the water of all that past experience? Somehow we can just swim across the top of it and breathe the fresh air.
I like the word ordinary, though. I just like that. It's okay. Doesn't have to be that high or that low, but it's there. It's there. It's there. It's here now.
Thank you. So Patricia, you're our next reader, and you're on 71, last paragraph. And you need to unmute.
Good idea. Good morning, everyone. Before I get started, I was just thinking about what everybody was saying, and I was thinking about suffering. I was talking to someone who is suffering, and I felt my own suffering and how suffering is part of God. It's part of being alive, but it's also part of God. God is saying, okay, right now you're suffering. Okay. It just is. All right. Where are we? The idea of lifting. Okay. The idea of lifting beyond pain seems impossible to Paul. Emotional pain, physical pain, whatever you may call it, but we wish to attend to something today that we have not attended to thus far, which is a cleansing of re-knowing of historical pain, first through the individual and then through the collective, or the third field that humanity knows itself through. Now, to re-know yourself beyond historical pain is not to pretend that it never was. It is to know it anew. I like that. It is to know it anew, to claim it in a higher order, where the very resonance of that memory no longer holds the tincture of pain that would inform your experience. To be without this is indeed to be made new. And each of you says yes to this at the level of coherence that you may align to. I'm just going to read the next paragraph because it's just a couple of sentences. We are not teaching Paul today. He is interrupting with 1,000 questions. We will continue the lecture and answer question after. Thank you.
I think this whole idea, I mean, even in the clip we heard before we were reading about bringing that dense ball of dark energy and lifting it, move it to the upper room and reclaim it in the upper room. I'm curious about what you think about that. What is this reclaiming? What happens to it? He said it falls apart.
I wonder if it's an acceptance and then it dissolves.
I think you actually see it differently.
I think so.
And I mean, I don't know if I can articulate it, but you see it differently. And there's an element of what mattered so much before doesn't matter so much now. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like I see things more as innocent and less threatening. Rick.
I just love hearing that everything gets made anew. For me, that, yeah, I just love that. So I thought I'd say that.
Yeah. William.
I guess what's occurring to me now is that knowing I made it up, it's like when I zoom way back and get distance, something what I was looking at that may seem so physically important, real, just fades away and fades away. And so I see no wonder I don't have to do anything with it. You know, it just gradually it disappears because my attention now is on this moment. And it's just really not even there when I don't focus on it and see it as a thing or whatever I want to describe it as. So to me, yeah, it just disappears. The moment I quit seeing it as an object of my whatevers. And I just love that. I love that. But it does seem ordinary too. It just my attention goes here to the truth instead of here to what I'm making up.
Thank you for that. That really, like, I got something when you said, I made it up. I don't, who was first, Cindy or Amy? Cindy? Okay.
At some point in the last few minutes, the vision of the ceiling fan showed up. Rupert, and once you turn off the ceiling fan, it takes a little while for it to slow down and stop. And just these understanding to me that that which is outside of the present moment, thisness, isness, has to have attention, believing it's another version of what William was sharing. But for me, the density of the history, it requires believing attention for it to maintain its sense of reality in my experience. And when you turn off the ceiling fan and you withdraw the attention from all sorts of problems to solve, which always come from past and future, and you hang out now, that which must be fed, the illusion, will dissolve and disintegrate and become energy that can be placed into the ever present now. So that's just the words that Cindy puts on what I believe I heard William just share. So thank you.
Amy.
I like this discussion. What does it mean to know something anew? How is that experienced? It's a good question. And I think, as we said in the beginning, not only is it different for different people, but it's different at different times for the same people, right? Because our mind is moved through divine mind, right? It's divine mind that immerses itself in what we think are our thoughts, right? So as we move with divine mind, sometimes we see things anew by being pulled back, as William said, and I saw Richard going it like this, pulled back so that we see things from a higher perspective, or we see more of the tapestry and where the threads are in the tapestry. Or perhaps we stay close, but suddenly our perception shifts to that of the other person, and we see it from their point of view, which, as the French say, understanding brings divine forgiveness. And so we understand it from their point of view, and then that illuminates our own experience of the separate self, so that we include the other in our own experience. We can also, as we get older, one of the things I love, and I've been noticing it, is I have more information, more experience, not information, but I have a greater depth of experience as I grow older. And so I say, oh, I've seen this before. I know how this ends. I know that this will happen if I react this way. Is that what I want? And so I get to make my new, seemingly move into my new choice from a greater depth of experience. So I'm just trying to say, I think we see things anew in infinite ways. And it's always beautiful to see things anew. I love being able to do that. It doesn't necessarily mean, for me, over the past 24 hours, that I've had some things happen that have really given me serious heartache. And I've been moving through the experience, asking for guidance, and then receiving just multiple infusions of guidance. But anyway, yeah, I love the invitation to see things anew, as Rick said. It's really good.
Yeah,
It's juicy.
thank you. I love those answers. I'm going to listen to this again. Thank you. Rick, it's your turn to read.
Oh, that was quick.
We're on page 72.
The legacy.
of pain.
All right. Good to be here with you. The legacy of pain, historical data that informs your expectations. What you expect to experience can indeed be cleared, as well as the memory of oppression, and indeed the memory of war. You are not erasing the background, saying it never was. These have been your lessons, and it is important not to forget them. But it is important to understand that holding a memory in source translates not only the memory, but the act that the memory was born through. We will say this again. To know the divine, where the memory was held, not only translates the memory, but recreates the relationship to the impetus or event that caused the memory. Impetus that caused the memory. In other words, friends, you are translating the environment that claims you in expectations.
That is an amazing paragraph. I mean, what it's telling me is not the experience can be cleared, but I can actually reclaim the memory of it as well, which is in the past, which doesn't exist except in my mind. But I have a great example of that on my trip. My daughter came back from, she had gone to this cave and she called it the Mermaid Cave. It was in Amalfi in Italy, which is gorgeous to begin with. But she had climbed down into this cave and was swimming in this cave. And she was all excited about explaining how happy she was in it. And all I could see was the fear that my son-in-law had left her in this cave, this cave to swim. But then, like less than 10 minutes later, I went, wait a minute, I can enjoy her happiness about the cave instead of my fear about she was left in the cage. And like that, it was cleared. The fear was cleared, and I totally enjoyed the joy of her happiness. Amy, you were going to say something about this paragraph. Go on.
Everybody's back from their walk, so if I have to leave, I will have to leave just to say goodbye. But just what you said, to me, it was to know the divine where memory was held. So it's bringing the divine into the memory, or it's bringing the memory into the divine. And that's what I meant by seeing it from a larger perspective, or what William meant from stepping back and seeing it there. It translates the memory, but it recreates the relationship. It's what you said. It recreates, and it doesn't even have to do so in the manifest world. It recreates it inside yourself, right? And then that can either translate into the manifest world or not, but it recreates it in yourself. But as you said, that changes the past and the future, right? It's really amazing. So
And it brings joy and peace to your being.
it does. Yes, it
You
does.
know, it's like, isn't that what we all want?
Yeah. And I think we do this instinctively all the time, but this is naming it in a really beautiful way.
Mhm.
I think all of us have done this before. Anyway.
Oh, he's gonna go on to explain it even more.
Yeah.
Well, Amy, if you do leave while we're discussing, thanks for being here. We love you.
I love you too. I will try and come back. And Cindy, if I leave, I'll call you and we can come back. Okay.
Would you like to read another paragraph, Rick?
Sure, I will. Thank you. What does that mean? He asks. Well, imagine you have a memory of pain, Paul, a perception, perhaps, that seeks to keep you hiding from further
Persecution.
persecution. You live in limitation, in defiance of the divine, because you believe God cannot be where that event was. And you have created a signpost saying, no God here, that you ascribe power to. When you lift to the upper room, while you may not be operating in fear, your indoctrination through history will still support choice in a opposition to the true self. In other words, the one who was burned in love, scorned in faith, left behind, holds a legacy that informs behavior and also creates expectations that informs interactions and a view of the world that is still tainted by the old memory.
Yeah, when we reclaim that old memory, I think what this is telling us is that then we are changing all our expectations for the future. We're not like trapped in that prison anymore. Any other thoughts on this? Richard, you have any thoughts on this?
One and all, love us all. Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, that me, it's kind of like the love that we are is animating the body, the separate self, the conditioned separate self. So this energy enters the separate self, and the conditioning we each have influences how this energy is manifested. So if I'm fearful of anything, that fear will dominate my manifestation, whether it be thought, word, or deed. So if I see love in everything, then that will manifest as love, everything I see, feel, and do. So for me, it's an expression of the divine. How I experience it, how I manifest it, is how I chose to let the energy through me. So I recognize that I must have chosen poorly because I'm feeling something other than love. So I love the course of talking about love or fear. That makes it really easy. I don't have to analyze it. It is love or fear I'm manifesting. And that's because my conditioning. So I can heal that by offering it up, just letting it go, like all of you were saying. Let it dissipate into the ether because it's not me. And now I realize it's not me. So I can just let it go.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for that. I mean, I'm recognizing more and more how fear has had a grip on me throughout most of my life. So, especially as a mother, especially about my children. And I'm recognizing it more and more. And now I'm just learning to just enjoy them in all of their stuff and all of my stuff. But yeah, when you said if it's not love, something else is going on, that's like the key. Okay, we've still got some more time. How much time do we have?
I like that sign, no God here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I see more and more for as I keep approaching my youth, I'm really seeing that it's like an awareness that the due date is around the corner. So what? But I'm seeing something different, and it's like I don't have to do anything about this. I don't even have to get older. I'm not doing it anyway. And so when again, that presence, just being present, not saying anything, just observing the interaction of yesterday and feeling the love. So simple, just being there. And I know that they don't expect me to speak when I don't speak, but I know they know I just have so much love for them. And it's almost palpable. And when we hug, I've learned so much from my son-in-law, who's a very quiet person, very brilliant, very deep, and got a great smile, and we just hug. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. So I don't know. God is here or no God here. I got it. I go back and forth.
You create a signpost, no God here, that you ascribe power to. Wow. So direct. Cindy, I'm going to call on you to read again. Oh, Rick first.
I just like the fact that it keeps giving these choices, to choose divinity or to choose self. And, those crossroads, I've heard about them all my life, but I didn't realize the importance of this this thing that has been working not only in my life, but I'll I'll use the I in this one because it's all about it's for my best good for my awakening process. And to know that and to know that this is how it's always been it makes me laugh
Yeah.
because I saw the signpost and it was like, I'm not going that direction. No thanks. I want fun in my life. I want, whatever it was. So it's nice to read those two paragraphs because they were so pertinent
They were.
to somebody like me. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. I love it when you read. Um, yeah, when the guides keep telling us, I am as God, I'm with God, God is, God is, God is. If I can just remember that in every situation, stop labeling it as this one isn't God, that one isn't God. It's like, it's all. What did the very first thing Cindy read? All of it. It's everywhere. Nothing is.
In the darkness is God.
Yes. But maybe we're just labeling it darkness. I don't know. It's like from our sea of conditioning.
Well, if people's behavior is unkind and cruel,
Mhm.
that's the darkness. That's what I see as darkness.
Mhm.
And at that moment, it is accepting that and sending love.
Yes.
It's like, yeah.
And for me, looking past the behavior, it's not like I have to say that's right or wrong or understand it, but like looking past it to the true divinity within the being that's in every person and every soul.
But the belief in unkind and cruel is blocking your own consciousness because there is no unkind or cruel. Things just are. When you label them as good or bad or unkind or cruel, you're a rated barrier within your own mind that said, oh, that's bad, this is good. You're blocking the awareness of love's presence when you do that. So I try not to do that, although I still judge. More often than I like. I judge a lot less than I used to. Let me put it that way. So anytime I judge anything, I'm in my wrong mind. I have to let it be whatever it is, don't judge it, and say, that's what it's feeling. Now, how does it affect me? If I think it's cruel or unkind, and then that's in my mind. That's not happening out there unless I make it happen out there. So it's just manifestation of the divine through a conditioned being or beings, and it's either love or a call for love. So, like you said, when I see that other than love, then I need to extend the love that I am, embrace it. So,
Mhm.
You know what helps me with that is that whole Buddhist, I think it's Buddhist concept of curiosity. Like I started like having this like curiosity, like I wonder why they need to have this experience, or I wonder why I'm having this experience. It's like curious about it. It's like that helps me maintain some equanimity, some balance. I don't know what the word is. Detachment from it and just be curious about it. But I hear what you're saying, Patricia. Yes, I do still label some things in that way as well. Okay, I think we still have time for maybe another paragraph.
We
Cindy,
have,
you're up.
technically, we have 8 minutes if you believe in things like minutes and linear time. All right, here we go. When we teach today and we call forth the vibration of the word or the energy of the creator in action, we will do it at a level of amplitude that we have not done before. We can claim this now because the foundation of this teaching in the upper room is incoherence, which means you can align here and work with the octave of the upper room, which is what translates the data of history in the claim, behold, I make all things new. Now, reclamation, an imperative understanding, that which has been put outside of God must now be reknown in God, must be the alignment to the present moment where God can be known. Any memory occurs in the present moment, and all time may be known through this present moment because the eternal self actually exists beyond the template of time. Beyond the template of time means it is not bound to historical data. It exists beyond it, and consequently can reclaim anything in higher order. The divine is all things, inclusive of memory, inclusive of pain, resurrected, and indeed reknown. I'm reminded as I read this of the channeling we listened to last Monday. When it comes to time, there was this moment where the guide stated that all of you in this room must understand that everything that has ever happened in this room is here now. And perhaps the 4 lines from A Course in Miracles that are most valuable, that have been most valuable to me, or very, very valuable to me over the years, is the last 4 lines of, I believe, chapter 6 or maybe chapter 5. And there is a line in that prayer that states that I do not have to worry because the Holy Spirit will, there is no need to worry, I think, something like that, because the Holy Spirit will undo all the consequences of your wrong actions if you will let it. And I'm starting more and more and more to accept that the past is being undone in all of this work. And if I can accept that the past can be undone, that means that guilt and shame and I wish I hadn't has nothing to, there's has no leg to stand on. None. Zero. Zip. If the I wish I had done it differently is still in your place, it means that you're denying the divine and the present moment and the infinite and omnipotence and of the divine which only exists now. So really been sitting in that understanding that there is no, that the past is no excuse for limitation.
Thank you, Cindy. I feel like you just gave me a benediction.
I'm speaking it out loud for whatever's going on here. There's a lot of things going on. Like there's a lot of opportunities for the world to convince me that the truth is not true. And the more opportunity I have to say these things out loud with conviction, and because of my Kabbalah teacher now, certainty that only the truth is true, the more I'm just watching the world change.
I'm kind of debating whether to share something or not. So I guess since I said that, I have to share it, As a result
you get to share it.
I get to, yes, I get to. It wants to be said out loud, just like you were saying, convincing yourself. So I started off this hour telling you about yesterday and my experience with yesterday. And then this morning, I was saying to my husband, we're supposed to go on a week's vacation in March with my daughters and their families. And I said to him, I don't know if I want to go. I just don't like watching the drinking. And now, as a result of this hour, all I keep thinking about is how much love those girls were showering on me yesterday. Maybe the drink loosened up the love. I don't know, but they were just like showering me with love, hugging me, telling me how much they loved me. And I thought, I just reclaimed that memory. And I'm going on that vacation. I'll get more love. And it really is just about seeing everything completely differently, as Amy was telling us, each in our own ways. So welcome back, Amy. You want to have any last thoughts for us?
Tell me where you ended up.
Okay. We ended up with a beautiful statement by Cindy that you'll have to listen to on the replay. But on page 73, right before the last paragraph, the divine as all things, inclusive of memory, inclusive of pain, resurrected and indeed reknown. That's where we ended.
Okay. So we're on now the claim we have taught
Yes.
you thus far. Okay, that's where we'll start. Okay.
Any final words from anybody?
I love us.
Thank you.
Hugs.
Thank you. I needed you all today, so I thank you very much for being here.
The email doesn't come out till tomorrow, but if we want to know what we're doing on Monday and where the rubber meets the road, it's workbook lesson 76, I think. There are no laws. We are under no laws but God's. And there is a specific pointing in that book that literally invites you to remember that 4 or 5 times an hour. There are no laws but God's laws. And period. And there's a very specific pointing in that book, in that lesson, to marinate in that. I'll put it that way. Let me stop the recording. I love us.
Love